Section 7 of Harper's Young People, Volume 1, Issue 3, November 18th, 1879. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Rachel. Harper's Young People, Volume 1, Issue 3, November 18th, 1879. A curious incident. Horses will form strong attachments for dogs, but it does not often happen that a horse derives any real benefit from having a canine friend. The following case will show that a dog may sometimes return a horse's affection in a very practical manner. A man living in the country had a horse which happened to be turned out just as his carrots were ready for pulling. He also had a dog that was on the best of terms with the horse. One day he noticed that his carrots were disappearing very fast, but he was almost certain that no one had gone in and stolen them. Still he determined to watch, and see who was robbing him. His vigilance was rewarded, for he caught the thief in the very act of pulling up the carrots. Then he cautiously followed him from the garden, and found that he went off in the direction of the field where the horse was. Arrived there, the owner of the carrots saw that his horse was the receiver of his stolen goods. The thief was his dog. In some way the dog had discovered that the horse had a partiality for carrots, and was unable to gratify its taste. But with a sagacity that is almost incredible, the dog found the means of obtaining the succulent morsels for his friend, and this he did without scruple at his master's expense. There was something more than instinct in this dog's head. But anyone who takes real notice of the habits and curious doings of animals must inevitably come to the conclusion that the theory is not tenable which maintains that animals cannot think and reason. Our Post Office Box. I was very glad when Papa brought me the first number of Young People, and told me I should have it every week. When I read the story of Watty Herzl, the brave Swiss boy, it made me think of a boy I saw last summer in the Tyrol, where I went with Papa and Mamma. He was helping his father row a boat on the Koine Sea, a beautiful lake in the Bavarian Tyrol. I remember him because he had a bunch of alpine roses and edelweiss, which he gave to Mamma. We have never seen any flowers like them before, and we wondered if there was any pretty English name for the edelweiss. Mamma thinks that perhaps if I ask Young People I shall find out. It is a white flower with leaves like velvet, and the little boatman said it grew very high up on the mountains, where the chamois live. Mamie. We do not know any pretty English name for edelweiss. The German name is composed of two words, edel, signifying noble, and weiss, white. If you are studying botany, perhaps you can determine to what family the flower belongs, that is, if you have any carefully pressed specimens. Will you please tell me why the Bank of England is called the Old Lady in Threadneedle Street, and who first called it so? I would like to know, too, when the bank was founded, and when the building it now occupies was erected. Inquisitive Jim. Will not some of our young people send answers to Jim's questions? The picture of chestnutting in the first number of Young People puts me in mind of our beech nutting parties. On the hill where my papa's house stands there are a large number of beech trees, and I and my two little brothers have just had a fine frolic gathering the queer three-sided little nuts. A beech forest is very beautiful in autumn, when the golden leaves are fluttering down to the ground, and the smooth, straight tree trunks tower upward like silvery gray giants. When we gathered the nuts we spread some old sheets and blankets under the tree, because the nuts are so very small that otherwise we would never have been able to find them among the heaps of dry leaves. They are nestled in russet-brown burrs, something like chestnuts, and are so abundant that sometimes we get a whole barrelful from one tree. We like them better than chestnuts, and they'll keep all winter. My brothers and myself always take a pocketful to school to eat with our luncheon. We often find them in the spring among the heaps of last year's leaves, and after they have lain under the snow all winter, they begin to sprout when the first warm days come, and then they are very nice to eat. I hope the Young People will tell us of some good winter evening games, for we never know what to do between supper and bedtime. We always learn our lessons for the next day in the afternoon. Susie H. C. End of Section 7.